Hi everybody, this is Vinny and welcome to Complain Time. This is a show where we take a moment while the boss is out of the office to talk about things that really just quite frankly annoy us to death. Because you know what they say, when the cat's away, the mice will play. Or in this case, complain about stuff that just drives us all crazy. Now before we go any further, I want to give you guys an opportunity to hit the subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified so you never miss another episode of Complain Time as well as other additional HVMA content. Now today's topic that I want to get into, something that really gets on my nerves, smoking outside. Now, as you can see, this complaint is not about people who smoke outside. It's about the fact that smokers, like myself, are now forced to go outside. That's why technically for this video, my boss is not out of the office. I am. That's right. Yeah, while he's in there relaxing at his desk, I have to come out here to have a cigarette. And of course, I had to wear a different shirt. And of course, I had to bring deodorant to hide the smoke. Because even though my boss knows that I smoke, if he smells it, it bothers him. That's why I normally wait till I'm done with work when I'm in the car and I'm driving home to have a cigarette. But to be honest, work's been a little bit rough this week, a little bit stressful, so I've needed to have a smoke here. You know, just gotta, calm my nerves and take a little breaky poo. So I need to smoke a bit, and I know if I don't prep, I'm going to hear him complaining, ironically, like he has been all week, talking about, why are you smoking? It is bad for you. I can't believe you still do this. Why do you need to smoke? I can't believe you still do it, even when I told you I hate it during the worst job interview ever, and you still have a cigarette. Now, I understand that there are some people out there that are non-smokers, and there are some non-smokers out there that, mind their own business. You see somebody smoking, you may not care for it, but you don't let it affect your daily life. You guys are cool. Y'all can sit this one out. But there are some of you out there that aren't cool, that have an attitude problem, and you're the ones who are going to get most of my venom in this week's episode. You know why? Because as a society, we have tried to accommodate non-smokers. Back in the day, restaurants had two sections. We had smoking and non-smoking. You walk into the restaurant, you'd be greeted by the host or the maitre d'. They would say, how many of you are here? You would give the number, and they would say, smoking or non-smoking? And if you said non-smoking, you went to the non-smoking section. If you went to smoking, you went to the smoking section. If you were in the smoking section, you were allowed to light one up and take a drag. If you were in the non-smoking section, you could not. And we stayed on our sides. We kind of segregated ourselves a little bit, and we lived in harmony. You know what I mean? We all got along peacefully. Then a bunch of whiny smoke Nazis started whining and complaining, and they eventually got rid of smoking in restaurants altogether. Then we tried to accommodate again. We invented the e-cigarette and the vape pens with colorful and sweet-smelling tobacco. That way, the e-cig people could still smoke a cigarette indoors. You could still smoke indoors. It allowed us to live in harmony. We could be able to live together in peace, try to do that. We had the vape pens, and that way it was sweet-smelling tobacco. That way the tobacco was able to travel to another area. It would not affect you as much because it would smell like strawberries. They have strawberry-flavored tobacco, so you would smell it, but it wouldn't be like smoke, and it was like strawberries. And the tobacco was not anywhere near strong enough to give you any kind of nicotine addiction. But, smokers can enjoy themselves indoors, and once again, we could live together in peace. It was meant to be a way to solve the problem. And then, all of these propaganda commercials came out about vape pens being more dangerous, and then they banned those indoors too. This is why most non-smokers tend to piss you off, because you can't negotiate with them. They have to have everything their way or the highway, and they won't stop until they wipe us off the face of the earth. And in certain places, they put smokers in a section in order to have a cigarette, and it's blocked off by plexiglass, and it feels like you're locked in a cage. Gee, didn't this happen another time in history? Now, I know the term Hitler gets thrown around a lot lately, but there's some non-smokers out there who definitely deserve that title. And here's how crazy it's gotten. I'll tell you just how crazy it's gotten. Matter of fact, give me a minute here. I got a few more of these left. I want to get as many of them in as possible. I'm on a roll today. Here's another reason why I don't like it. I got to freaking cut my hand because the wind's going to blow it, and then it risks burning my damn hand. Here's another reason why I hate smoking outside. For Christ's sake. Lighting a cigarette shouldn't be this hard. At all. Now, here's how crazy it's gotten. I've been to people's houses where they make you go outside to smoke a cigarette. You know, they make you go outside. Like, if you want to smoke a cigarette, you have to go outside. But then, they'll sit on their couch and smoke multiple bowls of weed at their kitchen table. If that's not hypocritical, I don't know what is. Now, I know some stoner douche is going to watch this and go, well, you know, weed smoke isn't going to kill you. Maybe not. But it can be equally as annoying as it's still smoke going through the house. Also, let me make this crystal clear to everyone. If secondhand smoke, yeah, I'm going there. If secondhand smoke was truly deadly and harmful for kids and adults, I wouldn't even be here doing this video. Because guess what? I grew up in the 90s where our parents smoked around us all the time. I've been to family reunions where relatives smoked around us all the time. I've been smoking, firsthand smoking, since I was 18, and I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So either I'm a goddamn medical miracle, we've gotten weaker as a species over the years, or it's all bullshit. Which one is it? You tell me, comment below. In fact, I actually have an article that illustrates most of what I'm talking about. It's from a guy named Aram Bakshian Jr. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He served as an aide to Presidents Nixon, Ford, and Reagan. In the LA Times, he says, and I quote, "Strength lies not in defense but in attack. Anti-smokers have been getting more offensive ever since." In the early 1990s, the Environmental Protection Agency found that using its established risk standards, it could not link passive smoking to statistically credible health risks. What happened? Instead of admitting that it had lost fair and square, the EPA changed the rules to get the results it wanted, adopting blatant skewered standards. As one anonymous senior public health researcher confessed in a 1992 article in Toxic Pathology, yes, it's rotten science, but it's in a worthy cause. It will help us get rid of cigarettes and become a smoke-free society. Food and Drug Administration Commissioner David A. Kessler engaged in a similar act of deception before the House Subcommittee on Health and the Environment when he claimed to have uncovered a sinister plot on the part of the tobacco industry, specifically the Brown and Williamson Tobacco Corp, to raise nicotine consumption by developing a new secret Y1 hybrid tobacco leaf in Brazil. Sounds very ominous, but it turns out that the primary reason for the Y1 research was to develop a low-tar, not higher nicotine leaf. In addition, far from being a sinister secret, Y1 research was well known to several federal agencies, including the Department of Agriculture, which had actually developed the tobacco breeding line that became Y1. Smoking may not be a nice habit. It may be dumb and it may be annoying. So are nose picking, humming off key, failure to use deodorant, which you can clearly see I do, and voluntary public flatulence. That's passing gas for those of you playing the home game. Smoking can be unhealthy for the person who does it. So can wolfing down vast amounts of low-class, high-cholesterol junk food of the kind beloved by our commander-in-chief. But there is no conclusive evidence that passive smoke poses a scientifically demonstrable health hazard to non-smokers. Prohibition was the most disastrous social experiment the United States ever indulged in. It was the most politically correct one by the standards of the time. It was pushed through step by step, year by year, culminating in natural prohibition of alcoholic beverages in 1920. Because, in the words of a popular writer of the day, George Ade, the non-drinkers had been organizing for 50 years and the drinkers had no organization whatsoever. They had been too busy drinking. Never again. Even the usually interventionist New York Times had sounded a skeptical note about the FDA's claim that it had no intention of banning cigarettes. It gets tricky, we read in the July 2nd issue, because the FDA declares nicotine an addictive drug, the most inevitable next turn in this fast-moving plot. The legal wheels start turning in autopilot. If it's a drug, the FDA must declare it safe, which is impossible. The last thing America needs is yet another piece of Catch-22 interference from the federal social police. Do me a favor, Uncle Sam. Get off my back and out of my lungs. And if that's what they want to do, let my people smoke. Amen to that, my brother. Amen to that. Now I get it. Hold on, let me cool down for a second. Obviously, there are certain places and situations where you can't smoke. I joke about my boss, but obviously I love my boss. He's a great person to work for. You know, I mentioned in a Wednesday Wisdom video, you know, meeting him and how much he's embraced my creativity and the fact that he, you know, allows me to be myself and do what I do, and we come up with great ideas, you know, for clients and stuff and putting things together. He's always embraced my ideas. He's always trusted me, and on the rare moments where I came up with an idea that wasn't good, he always told me, and we worked through it. So I don't want people to think that I'm in any way, shape, or form trying to insult my boss. My boss is awesome, you know. And obviously, like I said before, I have no reason to lie because I'm out of the office. So I have no reason to lie about it. But like I said, I joke about my boss, but I understand the fact that we work in a small office building. It's a very small building. So obviously, I can't smoke in there. I get that, you know. If I have my own, you know, corner office with the door shut, I feel I should be allowed to smoke in there. But since I'm in an office, I'm at a desk where there's 3 other people around me, obviously I can't smoke at my desk. It wouldn't make sense, you know. And the conference room we all use, so I couldn't go in there. And obviously I'm not going to smoke in my boss's office. That would be rude. And I'm not going to smoke in the kitchen because everybody else goes in there. So I get it. Obviously, you know, I can't smoke in the building. So that makes sense to me. And plus, he's the boss. So if he says no smoking, well, then I guess I can't smoke, can I? I got to go outside. I got to wait till I'm driving home. So at the end of the day, I do get some situations. And of course, if you're at someone's house and they say no smoking, then of course you have to follow that rule. It's their house, you know. It's their house. They pay for it. They make the rules. So if I'm a guest at somebody's house and they want me to go outside to have a cigarette, I'll do it. I ain't happy about it, but I do it, you know. So I handle it that way. Unless it's a house where they smoke other things, in which case you should be allowed to tell them to go f themselves. And finally, hospitals and doctor's offices are no places for smoking as well. You know, obviously, there's sick people in there. You know, smoke is not a good thing in a hospital or a doctor's office. You know, you don't want to do that around someone who's, like, legitimately sick. So, see, even as a smoker, I can be rational with where I smoke. I can compromise. I can understand certain instances where I can't smoke. But I do believe that non-smokers need to be rational and reasonable as well. That's where my problem lies. For example, here's a compromise. Let vape pens and e-cigarettes be allowed indoors. And let's bring back those smoking and non-smoking sections. Hell, we're going to be social distancing from now on anyway, so let's use this as an opportunity to make that happen. This is America, and people have the freedom, to a degree, to do what they want to do and live their lives the way they want. But at the same time, we are also aware that we need law and order in order to function as a society. And the best way to do that is compromise. Compromise and negotiating is what keeps this country organized and peaceful. But when one side, in this case the non-smokers, are unable or unwilling to compromise, it causes anger and resentment and forces the side being wronged, in this case the smokers, to push back and be even more aggressive. Thus why I'm so angry in this video, which in turn can cause violence and destruction. Don't believe me? Turn on the news. See what's going on in the world today. That's what happens when compromising is not an option. Well, anyway. Anyway, it's about time for me to get back to work, so that'll conclude complaint time for today. So before you guys go, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified so you never miss another episode of Complaint Time, as well as other additional HVMA content. Check back soon for a new episode. And until then, stay social.